What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I want to share with you guys some things I think every exterior contractor needs to be looking at as far as a business model. Every single person needs to be looking at as far as a personal sovereignty, and that is starting to produce some of your own food if possible. If you're in an area where you're going to be for the next few years, planting it and beginning to start doing some farming activities on it is huge. We are in Southwest Florida. I picked this location pretty strategically because I wanted to build a homestead, which is what I'm doing. You know, I think we've passed 50 edible trees, whether it be mulberries, blackberries, those are more bushes. We've got a lot of avocados, got citrus, got the mangoes, we've got bananas, we have all that type of stuff. But I want to put something on your radar. Right now, I'm recording this on September 1st. I am expecting the grain futures contracts to come in on September 15th, and then again, the secondary part of it on December 15th. I think it's going to change the way a lot of things are going to work. And so if you're thinking about it, if you're in an area, if you can team up with some buddies, if you're like, yeah, we're kind of where we're going to be for a minute, go and invest in these things now. I do not think that they're going to be available a year from now. Let me explain to you why. You've got something like a mango tree here. This is just a little guy that I've been working on. He's grafted. You can kind of see right there, this big nub there. At some point in time, the way that you grow a proper mango is that you grow it from a seed, you take a variety that you like, and you clip it, and you basically merge them together. You can think of it like welding them together. It takes time. Something like this tree started from seed probably about 3 years ago, and then it was merged about a year and a half ago. You can't just create it because you want it. So what I'm saying is that this mango tree here that's still 2 years away from production probably was created in 2019. Something like a banana started with this guy. Like, this is just a single stalk. Bananas are a little bit unique. You can take it from a banana bunch, take the single stalk, and then almost immediately, like within a month, this guy's been in it for about 2 months, it'll start popping up new shoots, and then it will turn into bunches. You can actually grow bananas as far north as Alabama. My buddy's playing with them in Alabama. But one thing that everybody could be doing is I look and I question a lot of these guys in the lawn care YouTube space, and I'm like, dude, it's 2022. Like, what are these guys doing? Chicken tractor literally is mowing the grass for us as we're moving it around. The night and day difference between when I started the chicken tractor, and you can kind of see like it leaves this path of like chicken poop and all that stuff. They tear it up, they eat the bugs, they do it, and then it kind of moves on. They eat the bugs, they eat the grain from the grass. I'm mixing in different types of grass now, and the results that I'm getting from these guys, like the lushness, where they've already been like a month ago, they were over on this side of the road, and you can see here I've got this hose running. It might be difficult to see depending on the definition of your screen you're watching on. It's like a bluish green. It's super lush, super, like it's been quite a game changer since I started doing the chicken tractor. But it is an alternative to smaller places where you would be running a petroleum driven lawnmower back and forth every week on it. You put a chicken tractor on it. You do the same thing with rabbits. You can put rabbits in what they call a tractor. It's basically a thing that just goes along the ground. They're just going to eat away at your thing. They're going to fertilize. You're not going to need an external fertilizer service or anything like that. They're going to help enrich in the soil. And this is going to be a business model. I genuinely think that guys that can help people set up homesteads, build food forests, do all those type of things, I think that it's going to be a good way to segment yourself, kind of like select yourself away from traditional landscape and design and build to a very niche that a lot of people, particularly wealthier people at the very beginning, are probably going to gravitate towards because they're not going to want to deal with some of the craziness. They have the capital to invest, and they're going to just do it all at once. Unfortunately, like I said, I think an item like this, something that was grafted, like this guy was probably grafted 3 years ago, 2019. Demand has probably increased since 2020. And after the 15th of September, and certainly after the 15th of December, when those grain contracts that come due, corn and grain, mainly corn, comes due, and we find out that 30% of the world's grain supply came from Ukraine, and they didn't plant this year, and they didn't move it. They didn't get it out of there. We're going to have a deficit of grain, and food prices are going to shoot. And when they start to shoot, at some point in time, people are going to go, oh, you know what, we probably should invest in gardening tools. We should probably start doing a little garden action. And so what you're going to see is a springtime where there's going to be a lot of demand in that. And for you guys that can get to it early, create content, share with people what you're doing, what's going on in your network. And I've coached with a couple of guys recently where they're like, Trav, I want to build food for us. How do I do it? And I've shared with them a lot of good ways to do that. And one of them is to go build a network in your local area and go get footage and content with people that are already doing it and figure out what plants work, etc. And connect people, like literally be that connection point. This is a food forest that is in progress. So we're about to start this one. And it literally starts with laying out mulch chippings. That's going to be a huge resource for you guys to have some spots to put it, or you can rent some land or have a buddy who has a couple acres and you can get tree companies to start dropping chips. This is going to be a huge, huge resource because this food forest that I've got over here, and I've got some construction going on. We're building like a shed basically in that area to keep all our tools in and whatnot. I started this 3 years ago and it was mulch chips. Now it's like you dig in there, it's just lush, good dirt. And it's still in the process of breaking down and becoming even better dirt. It takes about 7 years to build really solid soil. It's a long-term play, but it literally starts by putting out the wood chips. And then from there, letting it break down, planting in it. This is gonna be more like an annuals thing. We're gonna be putting like lettuce here, cucumbers here, stuff that you plant over and over. I've got some vines going up along the fences. That's gonna be more permanent. We've got some trees. That's a fruit tree right there. It's actually a moringa tree, which is amazing. You eat the leaves, it's like super healthy for you. Has more vitamin D in one of those leaves, like in a whole packet of those leaves, than an orange, which is really gnarly. Really good crop for most. I mean, you can grow moringa almost anywhere, but when you really start researching what you can grow, maybe you need a greenhouse in some areas to grow things. It's really incredible what you can grow. People powder these up, turn it into a powder, sometimes turn it into a pill, and right there, more vitamin C than an orange. Super fast, super quick. Got some grapes here growing because we are in that area where we can make that happen. But I want to put this on your radar because I don't think a lot of people are considering the effects of going into a deglobalized economy, an economy where you're going to trade with half the world or less, as opposed to a year ago we were trading with Russia, China, Taiwan, India. All of that now is on the downs, and it doesn't look like that's going to be reversing anytime soon. And countries like Sri Lanka, who literally have no economic activities. If you're a young guy like my age in Sri Lanka, the best thing you can do is get a boat and become a state-sponsored pirate. And that's going to happen, and that's going to overwhelm the US military, and people are going to start learning, oops, the whole entire era that we lived in from 1944 to 2016 existed because of a strong US military that was able to almost guarantee free trade amongst nations. Yeah, there were some sanctions, there were some currency issues, but for the most part, if you were Sri Lanka and you wanted to trade organic tea, you could do that because the US military was going to ensure that Somalian pirates were not going to take your loot. At this point in time, that's going to be off the table because the US has not invested in the resources, the staff, the boats. If you want to take a region, US military is the way to go. They got the carriers. But if you want to patrol pirating activities and cargo ships come in from, the US military just doesn't have the clout. Plus, they're getting in all sorts of foreign things with Chinese and the Russians, and they're really at the edge of doing some really bad things. And so I think it's going to create an opportunity for you guys that are like, okay, we're going to have to reshore our food supply. And here in America, we have a lot of opportunities. We can grow a lot of things. But the opportunity, the big opportunity, the things that are going to outpace inflation is going to be agriculture, is going to be things helping homesteaders. People are going to start to leave the cities. And as they leave the cities, they're going to go to 1 acre piece of land. They're going to go to combine things where you got 5 buddies together, you buy 20 acres and everybody's got 4 acres of it. You build your structure or your structures and you start, you communally share a tractor or whatever. Guys that can help those guys, that can serve those guys, that can create content for those guys, that can create plant material. I genuinely don't think that there's going to be enough plant material in the next year, 2, certainly 3. You guys are going to see 200, 300, 400, maybe 1,000x on some of your stuff, 1,000%, 10x on your stuff that you're able to do, because I just genuinely think you're going to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and that one little section that they have there that's edible plants, I think is going to be gone after the 15th of December, and at least in our area after the grain contracts come due. So I want to put that out on your radar, not like fear, doom, and gloom, but just we're moving into a new world order, It's up for debate who's going to be the king of that, how that's going to be structured, if the US dollar is going to be the thing that we're going to trade in and out of as the reserve currency. All of these things are up for debate, and nothing that I see living here inside of the States supports me thinking that the States are going to come out of this ahead, at least not yet. At this point in time, we're still trying to knock down the definition of a male and female. So we're not quite exactly there yet. A lot of people think men can have babies. We're really at that spot where Rome was when they were doing the bread and circuses, right before the barbarians walked in and took everything from them. So we're kind of in that weird spot, but I think that for you guys, individuals that want to be self-sovereign, that want to have control over your own food supply, and want to develop a skill in doing so, I think that that is where the opportunity is going to be. Likewise in fuel, that's another video. But if you have not started and you are in a spot where you're going to be, either one, get to a spot where you're going to be, two, get going. I'll see you guys down in the comments, and until next video, give this guy a like. I'll see you later.